instructed to do, I would do it because I was forced to do it.
Ngangingaphansi kwengcindezi konke engangikwenza ngoba ngisho ngangivikela impilo yami.
I was under pressure, and everything that I was doing, I was protecting my life.
You indicated in your evidence that the unit known as TRT was also present during the pointings out.
Ushilo-ke kubufakazi bakho ukuthi laba abaziwa ngokuthi ama-TRT babekhona-ke ngalela langa leliya.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you see them for the first time?
Uma ngabe uqala ukubabona-ke ngalelo langa lelo wababona nini ngasiphi isikhathi?
Albertine police station.
At the police station in Albertine.
And what were they traveling in?
Babehamba ngani?
Ngathi babehamba ngemoto esakhumbi. Angisazi noma i-Mercedes or i-VW na. Kodwa imoto yakhona isakhumbi.
It was a combi-like vehicle. I'm not sure whether it was a Mercedes or a VW.
Was it just one vehicle?
Kwakuyimoto eyodwa.
Angisakhumbula ngisenakho ukukhumbula okuphelele.
I can't recall fully.
And officers from Ekurhuleni Metro, did they escort you during the pointings out?
Aphelekezela yini amaphoyisa-ke asekuruleni emetro?
Mangikhumbula kahle imetro yasala eAlbertine.
If I
Ngasuka nawo la eVerali ngana eFosorus ngisuke eFosorus yafika sale eAlbertine.
If I remember correctly, I think they stayed behind in Albertine because we left Valeria with them, went to Phosphorus, from Phosphorus to Albertine, and then they remained in Albertine.
So the evidence of Lieutenant Colonel Khadabe is that there were no members of TRT present. There were only two vehicles that were present from Ekurhuleni Metro, and there were two in each of the two vehicles. In other words, in total there were 4 members of the SWAT team from Ekurhuleni traveling in 2 vehicles.
Ngokubufakazi bakhe-ke Lieutenant Colonel Khadabe abe-TRT bona-ke babengekho laphayana, kwakuyimoto ezimbili kuphela ze-EMPD Ekurhuleni Metro Police, babe babili-ke kwimoto nganye, okusho ukuthi-ke bephelele babe u-4.
Yaphinda ngiyayichaza le ngisuka namaphoyisa emetro, ngisuka nawo eVeralia, ngiya nawo eFosorus, ngifike ngiyashawa. Ngisuka eFosorus ngibuyela ngiya eAlbertine. Uma ngifike eAlbertine mase sekhanjwa amaphoyisa la emetro asala kwahamba amaphoyisa eTRT.
I'm going to repeat this. I left Valeria police station going to Phosphorus. Upon arrival at Phosphorus, together with the Ekurhuleni Metro Police officers, upon arrival at Phosphorus, I was assaulted. From there, we then go to Albertine. And then at Albertine, the Metro Police, or Ekurhuleni Metro Police, stayed behind, and then the TRT members went with, or left with us.
But the Ekurhuleni Metro Police officers escorted you from Valeria, is it correct?
Kodwa-ke uma niphuma noma nisuka eValeria, ababini escorta nani escortwa yiwona imetro la eSekurhuleni.
Masisuka eVeralia sihamba nemetro sifika eFosorus yangishaya, sisuka eFosorus siya eAlbertine la bafike basala khona. Sasuka sesaba nama-TRT ke ngaleso sikhathi sesele wona la metro.
When we left Valeria police station going to Phosphorus, we were escorted by the Ekurhuleni Metro Police. We get to Phosphorus, they assaulted me. We then go to Albertine, and then in Albertine they stayed behind. We then left with the TRT.
But on your version, were you able to establish as to why the SWAT members remained at Alberton?
Kodwa ke wabanakho ukuthi uthole ukuthi kwakungani ukuthi basale eAlbertine.
Cha.
No.
And why the TRT members now appeared and escorted
Nokuthi
you
kungani
during
ke
the
manje
pointings out?
nokuthi kungani manje sekuqhamuka iTRT kube yiyona ke manje eescortayo noma ke ephelekezelayo.
Ngicabanga lo mbuzo lo ungaba right ubuzwe kuwa amaphoyisa ukuthi kwakungani.
I think that question will be better suited to be directed to the police themselves,
Ngoba mina ngisho nje ukuthi ayenze ukuthi kwenzakala kanje kwenzakala kanje.
because I'm only narrating as to what happened, that this is what happened and this is how it happened.
Now, according to you, did the TRT play any role?
Laba be-TRT, that now, at the pointing out itself. Or-
Yes, from Alberton and during the pointings out.
Laba be-TRT ke kukhona yini ababekwenza ke bona ke kuko konke lokho eAlbertine nangesikhathi ke manje sekufikwa kule ndawo ke kuthiwa i-pointing out yenzeka ngabe khona abakwenza bona laba be-TRT.
Kimi
Is it now specifically to me?
No, any role that they play, did they play any role?
Kuko konke nje lokho kwenzeka lapha angithi uthi manje bahambe nani uma nisuke eAlbertine ukuya lapha yana ke kule ndawo ke la ekuthiwa uHadebe wayithi kuwena yenza lokhu ingaba likhona yini igxathu ke ababe nalo ke ukona nje konke kwakwenzeka.
babekhona nje ukuthi bakhona kodwa kimi mina ngangethuka vele mangilokhu ngibabona bekhona.
They were just there, but to me it was just a shock that they were there,
Ngoba bephethe ibhamu lokhu bezulazula la eduze naseduze kwami ngangilokhu ngethukile vele.
because they had firearms and they were just walking around me and I was in shock.
See, Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe refuted that version that there were TRT members. He said there were only the SWAT members in 2 vehicles.
uLieutenant Colonel Hadebe yena ke wayiphikisa ke leyo nkulumo nkathi wayela enkantolo ukuthi ke ama TRT ayekhona wathi yena kwakunemoto ezimbili kuphela ze SWAT laba ke be Metro Police.
Mina ngiphikisa lokho akusho ukuthi unamanga manje kwakukhona iSWAT masiyale esesibuyela le endaweni yaseFosas kwangesiyona iSWAT kwakuyi-TRT.
I am refuting what he's saying, that he is telling lies when he says that it was the SWAT members. It was not SWAT members, it was TRT
SWAT
when
is-
we went to Fosterers.
iSWAT lama traffic cop ngisuke nawe Everali yangana weFosas afika ngishaya afika eAlbertine asala.
These EMPD or the SWAT members, I left with them from Valeria to Fosterers. They assaulted me in Fosterers. We then went to Albertine and they remained behind in Albertine.
Now, after the pointing down on that first spot, as we have just shown you on the photo, what happened further?
Seqedileke manje kule sithombe besiqeda utshengiswa ke lana usukhombile lapha phansi ubonisayo ke kwisithombe ukuthi ukhomba phansi kwenzekani emuva kwalokho.
Masiqeda ukuthi angazi ukuthi izithombe ezilandelana kanjani kodwa konke kwakwenzeka lapha ya kwangwezisa uHadebe masiqeda sebeqedile ukuthi uHadebe eqeda ukuthi angikhombela masiqedile lokho masiqeda ukukhomba sangena emontweni.
Just that I don't know as to how the sequence of the photos goes, but when we were done doing what Hadebe was directing me to do, to point here, point there, and point over there, we then got into the vehicle.
Yes.
Yebo.
Was there another spot that was pointed out?
Ikhona enye indawo eyakhonjwa?
Yebo ikhona.
Yes.
Yes.
Yebo.
What happened there at that second spot?
Kuleyo indawo yesibili kwenzekani lapho?
Waphinde bamisa imoto futhi.
Again the vehicle was stopped.
Waphinde wathathe bangehle futhi.
Again Hadebe instructed me to alight from the vehicle.
Ngehla wathi angikhombe phansi emgwaqweni ngakhomba phansi.
Indeed.
Ngakhomba la ethi angikhombe khona.
Indeed, I alighted from the vehicle. He instructed me to point down the road. I indeed pointed or did as directed by him.
Yes. As being which point?
Ethi ke khomba phansi emgwaqeni ethi ke ukhombani.
akazesho.
He never said.
Did you ask him as to why you must point down?
Ingabe wena ke wambuza ukuthi ngikhombani ke manje la?
Ngoba ngisho ukuthi ngangaphansi kweingcindezi ngangenayo indaba yokuthi ngabuza imibuzo akaze ngize ngibuza.
As I said that I was under pressure, there was no point for me to be asking questions. I did not ask him.
But how will Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe have known about these points as he was not part of the investigating team?
Manje ke uKolonel Khadebe wayezozazi kanjani ke le indawo lezi nanjengoba ke wayengasiyona ingxenye yethimba eliphenyayo.
Lo mbuzo lo ngiphile ngiyasho ukuthi ungaright mengwabuzwa kuye uHadebe ukuthi lezi ndawo wayezazi kanjani ngoba uye wayengikhomba ukuthi angikhombela ngikhombela.
That would be a proper question to pose to Khadebe as to how he got to know about these points, because he's the one who directed me to point them out.
And when he testified, it was never put to him that also as far as the second spot is concerned, that he's the one who instructed you to make a down point at the second spot.
Manje ke ngenkathi yena ke uLieutenant Colonel Khadebe wayekhona ke la enkantolo ezokuthula ubufakazi, ayikaze leyo nkulumo leyo ishiwo kuyena ke ukuthi kwakuyena umuntu owathi kuwena ke khomba nanjengoba ubonakala kulesi sithombe ukuthi uyena owathi kuwena khomba phansi lapha, akazi lokho kushiwo kuyena.
Uye umuntu mina ngasho ngathi uye umuntu owaye director oke into uye umuntu wayethi angenze ini ngenze lokho akushoyo ethi angenze ini ngenze lokho akushoyo.
I did say it, or I did mention it, that he's the one that was directing me, telling me what to do, and I would do exactly what he would be telling me to do.
In fact, the record shows that none of the council asked any questions to him.
Osikutshengiswayo ke noma ke irecord ke akukhombisi lutho ke ukuthi ke kukhona abameli abambuza kona.
Yebo noma abameli bengambuzanga kodwa mina ngasho na we trial ukuthi mina umuntu wayengidirect uthi ngikhombe lapha yangikhomba khona kwakuHadebe.
Yes, although the legal representative never asked him, but I did say even during the trial, within the trial, that he's the one that would be directing me to point where I would be pointing.
Again, my lord, that is misleading because Mr. Sibiya's version was posed to Mr. Khadebe to the effect that Mr. Sibiya never voluntarily pointed out to those scenes. He was forced to point at those scenes, so he was coerced. He pointed to them under duress. So it is very strange now for the state to say none of the defense ever put that version to Mr. Sibiya. To Mr. Khadebe.
We just want to qualify that when he came back after the court ruled that the pointings out were admissible, he came and put the contents of the pointings out on record, and no questions were asked to him. And we can refer to the relevant portion.
Yes, my lord, but I think the state is misunderstanding the process here. Mr. Khadebe came and testified in the trial within the trial. That is where the version of Mr. Sibiya was put to Mr. Khadebe. When he came for the second time, he was only here after the court had ruled that this alleged pointing out by Mr. Sibiya was admissible as evidence. It was only called to come and read into record what he apparently observed or noted at the time at which the pointing out was made. But already the version of Mr. Sibiya at that point had been put to Mr. Khadebe. So it is totally misleading for the state to come and say that none of the council ever put Mr. Sibiya's version to Mr. Khadebe.
Yeah. We did qualify that when he came for the second time to testify on the merits, no questions were asked. Indeed, when the admissibility of the statements were being determined, that version was put that he was coerced, but only in the trial within the trial. But we are saying a lot when he came back after the court ruled on admissibility, when he came in and put the contents of the pointings out, no questions were asked. That is a point that we're trying to make, but
That's a neutral assertion.
yes. Yes, that's what we're saying.
Yeah,
Maharaj,
fine,
that-
okay.
Yes. But, Mr. Sibiya, we will move on regarding that aspect. In the trial within a trial, two versions were put to Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe. During the proceedings, of the 23rd of October 2023, at page 57, during the debate between Mr. Mgomezulu and the court, the following exchange appears on record. This is after Mr. Mgomezulu indicated that you're forced to sign the pro forma. At line 9, Mr. Mgomezulu says, "My Lord, may I make a slight correction on the instruction?" And at line 12, Mr. Mgomezulu says, "Where the accused was taken from, he was taken from Alberton to a certain place." Then the court asks, from Alberton to a certain place. Mr. Mgomezulu says, "That's correct, my Lord," and from that place to the hostel.
Lana ke umshushisi ufunda ke okwenzeka. Sorry. Ubufakazi ke bange 23 zika October 2023. Yebo. Lana ke umnumzana uMngomezulu la umsolwa athathwa khona ke wathathwa ke eAlbertine wahanjiswa ndaweni thizeni. Inkantolo yasiyabuza ke izama ke ukuthi ke izwisise ukubuye usuke eAlbertine ukuya ndaweni thizeni waphendula ke ubaba uMngomezulu yebo ngosenkantolo wasuka ke wasuka ke kuleyo ndawo leyo waya ehostel noma baya ehostel.
Now, during the proceedings of 24 October 2023 at page 24, when Mr. Mgomezulu was cross-examining Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe, at line 6, he says, the version on 5 June 2020, according to his version, he does not even know that particular place. The only place where he was taken to, where he saw that he was at Foslores, was at the hostel in Foslores, because he was residing there previously. That is the only place he saw. Then Lieutenant Colonel Khadebe, that is not correct, my Lord. I did not even know the points that he pointed me except being directed by him. Then Mr. Mgomezulu, it is further my instruction that he was coerced to point at a place or at that particular place that he did not know. He was never there previously. Then Mr. Colonel Khadebe says he was never coerced by me, my Lord, and he never reported ever being coerced by anyone else.
Okay, lana ke wafakazi bange 24 zika October 2023 lana ke ubaba uMngomezulu inkulumo ke yange 5 zika June 2020 ngoko inkulumo yakhe ke akayazi nokuyaziko leyo ndawo leyo ukuphela kwendawo ke awahanjiswa kuyona ke la abona khona ukuthi manje ke wayese Foslores kwakuse hostel eFoslores ngoba ke wayehlala khona lapho ngaphambilini iyona ke indawo awayibona iyona kuphela indawo awayibona waphendula ke uMr Hadebe noma ke uKolonel Hadebe akusilona iqiniso lelo nkosi enkantolo ngangingazazi nokuzazi leza ndawo ayeyikhomba ngaphandle kokuthi ke ngikhonjiswe uyena uMr Mngomezulu. Okunye futhi ke angitshela kona ukuthi ke wayephoqelekile noma ke wayephoqwa ukuthi ke akhombeke indawo noma ke indawo thizeni angayazi noma ke ayengayazi yena noma ke nokuthi ke akakaze abe lapho ngaphambilini. Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe waphendula ke akakaze aphoqwe yimina ngosenkantolo and futhi akakaze angibikele nongibikela ukuthi ke kukhona umuntu owayemphoqa.
Well, if you can just assist here, Mr. Sibiya, at first blush, the proposition seems to convey that you were only taken to that spot at the hostel. Do you agree?
Ngicela ke ulekeleleke lana mnumzana uSibiya ngoba ke uma uqala nje ukuthi uyibukeke lento noma uyibhekeke ukuthi ke indawo kuphela owahanjiswa noma ke owaya kuyona kwakuse hostel.
Sacela uphindele umbuzo.
Can you just repeat the question?
No, I'm saying according to that proposition, the impression that is being conveyed is that you were only taken to that spot that is near the hostel.
Uma ubuka lokhu ne lokho oqeda ukufundwa manje lana ke ukuthi kona ke uma ukufunda kona ke ukutshela nje into yokuthi ke indawo nje kuphela noma ke indawo eyodwa wathathwa kuyona owasiwa kuyona ke ile ndawo eyayiseduze nehostel. Uma ubuka lokho okubhalwe la
Ikulumo ebhalwe la ithi ngathatha ngasiwa kwendawo engingayazi.
What is written here is that I was taken to a place that unknown to me.
La ngabona mina sengibona khona ukuthi la ngathi kuse hostel hayi ukuthi ngangise hostel ngase hostel.
And then that's where it then says that it's there where I saw that I was now close or next to the hostel, not that I was at the hostel but close to the hostel, next to the hostel.
Yes, but you've just indicated there that you were taken to a first spot where you were asked to make a down point.
Ngokweyithombe lezi beyitshengiswe lana ke usitshengisile ukuthi ke wasiwa ke wathathwa wasiwa wahanjiswa kwindawo yokuqala la owacelwa khona ke noma ke okwathiwa kuona ke khomba phansi.
Kuzo zonke izithombe ezashuthwa ngalela langa ngangidirectwa uHadebe ukuthi ngenze lokhu kuyo yonke indawo.
At all the photos were that on that day I was being directed by Hadebe to do this or do that. In all the places or at all the places.
So let's put it to this way. So Colonel Hadebe directed you to point, to make down points at 2 points. At that house that we've just seen now and at the place near the hostel.
Asikubeke kanjena ke uKolonel Hadebe kule ithombe ezimbili ke etshengisiwe lana kunalesi somuzi nalesi sesibili ke uKolonel Hadebe wathi kuwena khomba phansi.
uKolonel Hadebe wayethi angenze kanje ngikhombe phansi mayithi ngikhombe phansi mayithi ngime mayithi angigumule ngangigumula mayithi angenze lokho ayikusho ngangenza lokho ayikusho kwakusho uHadebe yonke into yenze ngalelanga kwauHadebe kuyena umuntu wayeyihola.
I would be directed by Colonel Hadebe to point. I would then point. If I had to point down, I would point down. If he says I must do this, I would do that. If he says that I must undress, I would undress. So everything that was happening on that day, I was being directed by Colonel Hadebe.
So he so directed you to make down points at 2 spots. At 2 different spots.
Kwindawo ezimbili ke esiyiboneleke ngokweyithombe lezi ezimbili esiyibonelana la akutshela khona ukuthi khomba phansi.
Not only at one spot.
Akwangasiyona indawo eyodwa kwakodwa kwakuyindawo ezimbili la akutshela khona ukuthi ukhombe phansi kuzona.
Yebo konke la ngangishuthwa khona ngangiyalela uHadebe ukuthi lokho okubona ezithombeni kwenzekile ezithombeni lezi ngangiyalela uHadebe konke.
Yes, everything that you saw or that you see or that you saw on the pictures was being directed by Hadebe.
Thank you. Then after the second spot near the hostel, you then returned to the office. Is that correct? Office number 31.
Uma seniqedile ke la ngizokhumbula ke lesi sesibili ke isithombe sitshengisiwe lana. Uma seniqedile ke khona la ukhombe phansi khona nasenibuyela eofisini on number 31.
Yebo sabuyela eAlbertine police station.
Yes, we went back to the Albertine police station.
And if we can then get back to the Pro forma exhibit GG.
Uma singabuyela khona ke kule form lena uGG.
Paragraph 12. After conclusion of the pointings out of the scene or scenes and on point or points, the notes are read to the person who pointed out and they are interpreted once again. The following questions are now put to the person who pointed out the scene or scenes and or point or points. 1. Are you satisfied that which you pointed out and said has been noted down correctly? The answer, yes. Paragraph 2. Are you satisfied that which you pointed out is your own version of what took place? Answer, yes. Paragraph 3. Do you have any complaints about the manner in which I conducted the pointing out? Answer, no. Paragraph 4. Are you satisfied with the interpreter? Answer, N/A.
U12 fika noma ke uparagraph 12 ufundeka ngalendlela ke emuva kokuthi sekuqediwe ke ukuthi ke kukhonjwe ke indawo noma ke ama points okubhalwe phansi ke noma phecelezi ke ama notes ase efundwa ke kuyena ke umuntu okuyena owakhomba nokuthi ke ase ehunyushwa futhi ke noma ke ukutolika lemibuzo elandelayo ke yase ke iyafundwa ke noma ke iyabuzwa ke kuyena umuntu okuyena okhombile weneme noma uculisekile yini ukuthi lokhu okukhombile ukuthi kubhalwe kahle ngendlela ekuyiyona. Impendulo yathi yebo. Ingabe weneme yini ukuthi lokhu okukhombile kuyinkulumo yakho yaloko okwenzeka? Impendulo yathi yebo. Ingaba kukhona yini okhala ngako noma ke ongonelisekile ngako mayelana nendlela ke engithe ngayenza ngayo ke le pointing out noma lokukhomba? Impendulo yathi cha. Ungaba wenelisekile yini utolika? Impendulo ke yathi ke ngoba ke kwangenatolika ke kwabhalwa ke loya NA obhaliwe lapha yana.
Uhadebe akaze sengitshene yonke le nkulumo leyo nelembuzo athi uyibuzile akaze sengibuze lembuzo akaze ngize ngiphane futhi ngale answer.
Hadebe never put this to me. Even the questions that are written here that are alleged or that were it's claimed that he asked me, he never asked me those questions and I never gave these answers.
Then there's a signature at the bottom and a thumbprint. It says signature and right thumbprint of the person who pointed out the scene or scenes and or points.
Kusayiniwe ke lana ibhaliwe ke ukuthi ke ukusayina ke futhi ke nesithupha ke sesandla sakwesokudla somuntu okuyena ke okhombile lana.
Ngoba ngishilo ukuthi uHadebe wanginika amaphepha ngasayina.
As I've already indicated that Hadebe provided me with documents to sign.
Kodwa hayi ukuthi wangibuza yonke lembuzo leyo etholakala ngaphakathi kwale iphepha leli.
But not to say that he asked me all the questions that are contained within this document.
Akaze futhi ngize ngiphane ngalezi answer lezi zonke lezi kuleli iphepha leli.
And I never provided with all these answers that are here in this document.
But this process from paragraph 12, did it happen upon your return from the pointings out when you were back in the office?
Manje ke lokhu okubhalwe la lokho siqeda ukufunda manje ke ingaba lokhu kwenzeka manje senibuyile ke lapha kulezi ndawo lezi senise office manje eAlbertine.
Amaphepha wanginikeza kayi-1 ngasayina kayi-1.
The documents were given to me once and I signed once.
And was it before you departed for the pointings out?
Kwangaphambilini kokuthi nihambe magama phambi kokuthi nisuke eAlbertine niye kule ndawo kuyokhonjwa kuyona.
Yebo ngoba
Yes.
ngisho ukuthi waqala ngasho ukuthi ithombe kuqala wasenginikeza amaphepha emva kokusho ukuthi ithombe ngase ngiyasayina.
Yes, as I've already indicated that the first step was when the pictures were taken and after the pictures were taken I was then given the documents to sign and I signed.
But upon your return from the pointings out, did you go back to the office number 31?
Kodwa ke seniqedile ke lapha manje senibuyela khona eAlbertine. Ingabe nabuyela yini kulela office enanikulona ngaphambi kokuthi nihambe?
Angisakhumbule ukubuyela e-office kodwa ukusayina ngasayina kayi-1 lesikhathi singiqeda beqeda ukungishutha iy'thombe la bengigumulise khona bangishutha iy'thombe base nginikeza amaphepha uHadebe ukuthi angisayini.
I cannot remember with regards to the office now, but what I do know is that I only signed once. As I said, that pictures were taken of me where I was also instructed to undress, and pictures were taken, then given the documents to sign, and I signed.
Upon your return, when you were there in the office, were there further photos that were taken?
Senibuyileke manje ke senilaphayana kulela office ingabe baphinda futhi bathwebula iy'thombe.
Angisakhumbuli okwey'thombe ukuthi baphinde bangithwebula nezinye iy'thombe.
I can't remember as to whether they took pictures again.
Kodwa ukusayina ngiyakhumbula ngasayina kayi-1 mabeqeda ukungigumbulisa iy'thombe lezi abengigumbulise zona ngaphezulu maqeda lapho wangeza amaphepha uHadebe ngasayina lawo maphepha lawo kuphela.
But with regards to signing, I do recall that I only signed once. That was after the taking of the pictures where I was instructed to remove my upper clothes, and thereafter documents were given to me, or a document was given to me to sign, and I signed.
We just wish to show you certain photos. You say you don't remember if photos were taken, photos 26 to 31. Do you perhaps remember if these are the photos that were taken upon your return?
And njengoba ushoko ukuthi awusakhumbuleke ukuthi uma senibuya kwaphinde futhi kwathwetshula iy'thombe, sifisa ke ukubonisa le y'thombe lezi ke 26 yofica ke ku-31.
This is photo 26.
26 lona.
Next one, photo 27.
27.
Next one, photo 28.
28.
Next one, photo 29.
29.
Next one will be photo 30
30 lona.
and photo 31.
31.
Do you remember if these photos were taken upon your return?
Ngabe usakhumbula yini ukuthi le y'thombe lezi iy'thombe ezathwetshulwa uma senibuyile?
Ukukhumbula kwami izithombe engathwetshulwa ngingakahambi leziyana lezi la engiguliswa khona.
According to my recollection, these pictures were taken before we left, where I was instructed to undress.
Mr. Sibiya, you shouldn't be confused. The photos that were taken before you departed are almost similar to the ones that were taken, in fact, similar to the ones that were taken upon your return.
Ngicela ke ungadideki mnumzana uSibiya ukuthi ke iy'thombe ezathwetshulwa ngaphambi kokuthi nihambe ziyafana ke ney'thombe ezathwetshulwa uma senibuyile.
Akaze ngigunyuliswe kabili mina.
I was never instructed or told to undress twice.
Yes. Anyway, the photos are on record. We just wish to draw your attention to what Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe testified on the 18th of March 2024, page 46, line 19. Mr. Hadebe, he testifies about the return from the pointings out. He says, that is photos 26 to photo 31. After photos were taken, and then we sat down with Muzi, and I obtained further clarification of what he had pointed out. Then he says, as you gave a statement.
Okay, lana ke uKenneth Hadebe uyashoka ukuthi lezo ke ithombe u26 kuyofika ke ku31 emuva ke ukuthi kwathwetshulwa izithombe esasesihlala phansi ke naye umuzi la khona ke angichazela khona ke ukuthi kwakuyini lokhu aye kukhomba uthi ke wenza wena ke owasekwenza ke ukuthi wenza ke istatement.
ngoba ngiyaphinda futhi akaze ngize ngenza statement no Hadebe and akaze kuze kube nezithombe uma sibuya la engigumula khona mina ngagumula kayi1 mase sizongisayinisa la maphepha la ngisayinisa wona kwase kuyahanjwa kiwa la ayethi angikhombe khona.
I repeat this. What happened is that I never made a statement to Hadebe, and there were no pictures that were taken when we came back or upon our return. It was only once that I was instructed to undress. That was before we left to where he was then directing me to point out.
Just before we get your statement, there's a last page of the pro forma. It's page 5. It says place, Alberton, date, 2020-06-05. Time, it says 14:20.
Kunale page yokugcina ke lana ithi indawo Albertine idate ke 2020-06-05 isikhathi u14:20.
Signature of officer who conduct the pointing out says Lieutenant Colonel Hadebe, NJ Hadebe.
Kwase kubhalwa ke lana isignature ke yalo ekuyena ko obehola ke pointing out noma ke ukhomba ke lokho bhalwe ke lana Lieutenant Colonel NJ Hadebe.
And there were no services of an interpreter that were used.
Akekho ke utolika owasetshenziswa.
Yes.
Lalela kodwa akaze ngize ngibuye ngiphinde ngihlale no Hadebe mina sixoxe.
I'm listening, but there was never at any stage upon our return did I sit down and had a conversation or a discussion with Hadebe.
My Lord, we're going to start with the statement. We see it's almost time for the long adjournment. It's 2 minutes before 1. Shall we then take the long adjournment?
Okay. We are going to 2.
Okay, adjourn until 2.